Somewhere, 500 miles above your head, a frozen corpse is drifting through the absolute zero of the void, trapped in a pressurized tomb that has been silent for over 60 years. You aren't supposed to know he exists. To the history books, the road to the stars was paved with triumph, a clean trajectory of Soviet progress and polished metal. But if you listen to the static between the stations, to the frequencies the government tried to drown out, you will hear the sound of the men who were erased from existence. These are the ones who reached for the heavens and were swallowed by the dark, their names scrubbed from history before their bodies even turned cold in the cabin. Imagine you are sitting in a darkened room in Turin, Italy, in the early 1960s. Your name is Achille or Giovanni, and you have built a listening post from surplus military gear and scavenged wires. Outside, the world is obsessed with the space race, but here, in the cold glow of vacuum tubes, the air smells of ozone and heated solder. You turn the dial, searching through the hiss of the cosmonaut, and suddenly you catch it. A rhythmic thumping. It isn't a pulsar or a satellite. It is a heartbeat. Rapid, terrified, and failing. You realize with a sickening jolt that you are listening to a man die in real time, millions of miles away from anyone who can help him, while the rest of the world thinks the sky is empty. The Soviet Union was a machine fueled by secrecy, where failure was not an option. It was a crime against the state. If a mission went wrong, the records were burned, the photographs were airbrushed, and the families were told their sons died in mundane training accidents. You might have seen the famous photos of the Sochi 6, the elite group of early cosmonauts. But if you look at the versions released years later, faces have vanished. Men who stood shoulder to shoulder with Yuri Gagarin were deleted from reality, their very existence redacted because they didn't survive the journey. The radio waves, however, do not respect the Iron Curtain. In May 1961, just days before a scheduled launch, the brothers in Italy picked up a transmission that still chills the blood. It wasn't a man this time. It was a woman's voice, sharp with panic, cutting through the crackle of a failing radio link. You can hear the roar of the atmosphere clawing at her capsule, the sound of metal groaning under impossible pressure. "Talk to me," she pleads, her voice rising in a jagged pitch. "I am hot. I see flames. Am I going to crash?" There is no answer from the ground. Only the sound of the heat shield disintegrating. The official records say no woman went into space until years later. They lied. She was a ghost before she even hit the ground, a secret buried in a crater that was quickly erased from the map. The true horror isn't just in the dying, it's in the eternal forgetting. You have to wonder how many of them are still out there, orbiting the Earth like morbid satellites. These capsules were built in haste, held together by pride and desperation, launched into a darkness that does not care for politics. When the fuel ran out and the power died, the heaters turned off instantly. The moisture from their very last breath turned to white ice on the inside of the glass, a frost that has never melted. Now they are just metallic shells tumbling through the black, containing nothing but mummified remains and the secrets of a dead empire. They are the permanent residents of the cold, circling us every 90 minutes, unseen and unmourned. When you look up at a clear night sky, you see the steady light of the stars. It looks peaceful, almost inviting. But the void is a graveyard with no headstones. Somewhere out there, a hand is still pressed against a frozen porthole, caught in a final gesture of defiance against the silence. The Soviet Union fell, the documents were shredded, and the world moved on. But the voices remain, trapped in the radio waves, screaming into a vacuum that will never answer. If you listen closely to the static tonight, ask yourself, is that noise just radiation? Or is it the sound of someone still trying to find their way home?